Hello, Internet. Welcome to the Saturday Morning Holmgang.
Woo! Yay! We're here.
We are. All right, so I'm your host, Matthew Kadish, author extraordinaire. With me is the love of my life, Matt Vader, 74.
Yeah! Woo!
The ambassador of estrogen herself, Juju. Yes. And as always, the barbarian space Viking, Matt Vader, 74.
Why am I on the bottom?
Because you're a bottom.
You're too big to be on top.
Man, I'm used to sharing the side with Jude. We sit on one side of the table.
That's true. We are table buddies.
That's right. There you go. That's much better. I think he left. Now we have to host the show, and that's not a good idea. That's not a good idea. Matt, come back. Come back.
Miss me yet?
No.
All right, so for everyone out there on the internet who doesn't know, every Saturday morning at 10:30 a.m., we do a live stream where we talk about current movie, TV, and pop culture news. And start off with just me, and then Matt Vader, 74, joined in, and now we have Juju. So it's the Salty Nerd Podcast -1. And unfortunately, Alex can't be here on Saturday mornings because he works, which is why it's all the more important that you guys support the show by becoming a patron or buying our merchandise or whatever, so that Alex and Vader can afford to quit their day jobs and do this type of thing full time.
Yes, please. That would be great.
And in case any of you are wondering, Jude is streaming from her audio booth where she does her voice acting work, which is why it looks like that. But she's got quite a nice little setup there with a very fancy microphone and camera.
This is my home inside my home.
I love how he's like patting himself on the back for putting that together for you right now. It's funny to me.
I put my booth together. I mean, he did the electronics, but like, I did.
Yeah, it looks good.
She was like, do these panels come in red?
And they do.
That's right.
And also purple.
And black. Okay, so if you're out there watching us live, feel free to leave some comments while we're streaming, because Matt Vader will be monitoring those and replying to them, and we'll even feature some if they're interesting enough and on topic. All right, so do you guys want to say anything before we get diving down into this?
I got nothing, man. Let's get to it. Yeah.
All right. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is Netflix cracking down on password sharing. So anyone out there who's ever bought a streaming service knows that you can share your password and login information around with some family members. And so, multiple households could be on one account, and it's a very cost-effective way of dealing with all these different streaming services. I mean, Jude, how many streaming services are we subscribed to right now?
Ooh, at least 10.
I don't think that's an exaggeration.
It's not.
We got what? Netflix, Amazon, Hulu,
YouTube,
HBO Max.
Yeah, Apple.
No.
Peacock.
So
that's at least 6 right there.
There are several more.
I dumped our Apple one for now, but
yeah,
it'll come back as soon as C starts back up again. So
yeah, we're waiting for C and Mythic Quest.
Yeah.
For Apple.
I mean, The Servant is on there, right?
Yeah, Servant's on there.
Yeah, I do want to watch the second season.
So when you're talking about how like when we have extra keys or accounts to hand out to family members when we have a subscription, right? Is that what they're talking about?
No, they're talking about you buy your account and then you give that information to other people and they log in under your account.
Oh, like if you have an HBO Max account and say, here's my stuff, why don't you watch it at your house?
Yeah.
All right.
But this is for Netflix. So Netflix tests cracking down on password sharing. This comes from The Hollywood Reporter. The new feature could signal the start of a piracy crackdown by the streamer that's historically looked the other way on password sharing. Netflix is testing a new feature that Yeah, same exact line. Spotted by Gamma Wire, some viewers attempting to use somebody else's account are now being stopped by a screen that says, if you don't live with the owner of this account, you need your own account to keep watching. Netflix confirmed the new feature, which is getting a limited rollout at this time. This test is designed to help ensure that people using Netflix accounts are authorized to do so, a Netflix spokesperson said. In order to continue watching, the viewer is given the option of either verifying their identity with a texted or emailed code to the account's owner, or opting to verify later, which gives the viewer an unspecified additional amount of time to continue watching and later confirm that they are a valid account user. A source familiar with the test said that the extent of the rollout varies from country to country, but noted that for one reason or another, noted that one reason for the feature is a desire to help protect subscribers from security concerns that can arise from unauthorized use of their account.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So goes on to say, speaking of HBO Max, the Warner Media streaming service likewise previously suggested it would not limit passwords sharing in the near term. The service currently sets a limit of 5 profiles per account, but it's unclear if users are cut off if they exceed that number. You know, one of the things I noticed with our Hulu subscription is that, so we got like a TV in every room in this house, and we only really use like 2 of them on a regular basis. But if you log into more than 2 Hulus, it logs you out of another one. So if we log into a third TV to watch a Hulu thing, it logs us out of one of the 2 main TVs that we watch. And next time we want to watch it, we have to go through the whole process of having to re-log in. It's very annoying.
In the ass.
And I really like how Netflix kind of had their initial setup where, you can have like 5 or 6 TVs or accounts going at a time. And that just helps with like, a household like ours, which is very, kind of connected.
Yeah.
With every room. And I've also noticed, like when I'm on vacation, I log into an account and stuff like that. It's very convenient. So I'm a little bit trepidatious about this whole Netflix. Like, we don't share our accounts with anyone, but like.
Well, I'll tell you the problem I've run into is we generally get the packages that we can share with our kids, right?
Yeah.
Or our mother-in-law or whoever. Well, they live in Oregon, and what ends up happening is I turn my thing on and I can't get on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what's happening right now? Then I get mad, right? And what happens is you find out that my daughters or my granddaughters have given out our information to half the freaking county up there. So I mean, there's some service I think where you can use to like see how many accounts are attached to your thing or something. My wife did it one time, and I don't know how she did it, but she said there was like 35 people attached to our account, and we didn't know any of them.
Wow.
And I'm like, Jesus. Yeah. So, you end up changing the password and chewing half the family out. It's like, do not use my stuff, or I'm changing the password again, and you're not going to get access to it this time. But yeah, I get this. I don't blame the companies for doing this. It's a service, and they need to get paid for it, whether they're the big bad corporate people or not. That's what they do.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So
no problems with me.
One of the weird things is that if I ever go visit my parents who are across the country,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll log into like my Amazon account
Mm-hmm.
while I'm at their house in our room, so like we'll be able to watch TV at night, and I forget to log out, then like later on we'll find that some Amazon shows are showing up in our just watch thing, and that we're like, we didn't watch that. What's going on?
Turns out his parents were.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny, but one of the things that interests me about this story is that there are so many streaming services going on right now, and it used to be like with cable, they would just do bundles, so you'd pay like one price and you get like all these different channels and networks and stuff like that. And now that streaming is kind of like emerging as the preferred way to consume content, and cable's kind of fallen by the wayside.
Yep.
Everything is separate now. And unless you have something like Disney that has like 3 different streaming networks and bundles them together, so they have Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu, you're paying separate fees for all these things, and it can quickly become more expensive than cable was.
Yeah.
If you're trying to get all these different streaming networks. And so kind of doing like a streaming co-op, or like we don't do this, but hypothetically, like if I bought, Amazon, Vader bought Netflix, Jude bought HBO Max, we'd all be, kind of sharing the cost of all those things and being able to watch those things. And so I feel like unless there's some type of agreement between the studios in the near future to bundle these things together, basically make a streaming cable bundle or whatever, account sharing is going to be kind of basically just par for the course for streaming services. And
I would have no problem piggybacking off all of your guys' streaming things. By the way, I'll give you $5 a month. Okay, how's that sound?
Sounds like we're getting the cheap end of the deal.
Yeah. So I've actually been thinking about this quite a bit, because we're going to be moving out of our apartment into a house like in 6 weeks, and my wife. No, we have barely even looked yet.
Okay.
But I'm thinking about this because we get a really sweet deal on our cable company here. It comes with our lease, so we get good. Cox is the big cable provider here in Vegas, and we get like their primo deal for like $60, but that doesn't pay for the internet. But normally that's like what, $160, $150, $200 for that stuff. And when we move, I'm not doing that. I think we're going to end up probably, my wife won't let us not have cable, but I think we're going to end up, like getting like the basic bottom tier package we can get. And I'm just going to go all streaming, I think, at this point. I'd like to cut the cord, but I don't think my wife would go for it. But
I think the
it is
cable,
what it is.
The cable packages became so outrageous that, like, at one point we had like the deluxe package, and it came with so many channels that were all just like bullshit nonsense.
Yeah.
They're like, we're not watching any of these. We're only watching like Prime, Netflix, and Hulu. We should just get rid of cable and just watch Prime, Netflix, and Hulu.
Yep. It's just I'll log on. I'll get on TV, and I will sit there and I will flip through the channels, and there's nothing on. And anything that is on, there's stuff that you can get on the streaming, because every one of these networks are included in some kind of streaming package.
Yeah. Like, I'm never in the mood to like just see what's on and watch that. No, I'm in the mood for this, so I'm gonna stream it right now.
So I got a lot of thinking to do about that. I like my sports, unlike a lot of nerds out there.
We used to stream the hockey channel, but we let it go.
If I could find just like something that had all the sports, I could totally like not do the cable and just go to streaming now. But hey, in the chat, Backyard TARDIS is here. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello. We got some comments.
Yeah, Pop Culture Minefield. Pop Culture Minefield is in the chat. He's my buddy. I was on their stream yesterday. Thank you for that, guys. Tim Tringle is here, good friend of the show. And welcome to the stream, guys. It's nice to have you all here. So hang out.
Yep. Backyard TARDIS says, my dad gave my account to my brother, who then gave it to his roommates, who then added a bunch of things to my watch list.
Yep. That's really annoying.
That's how it goes. You got to be careful with that. When we cut the cord with cable, one of the reasons that I decided to make that move was because YouTube TV offers unlimited DVR and local channels. And at the time, it was like $40 a month. And I was like, that's way cheaper than what we're paying for cable, and we get all the same things. I think now it's up to like $60 or $70 a month. And I noticed a while back that, just like Jude said, we weren't watching YouTube TV. We weren't watching any of the network channels. We weren't watching, basically anything on there. And every network has like their own streaming app now, in case you want to consume that material. And so we decided to cancel YouTube TV, and now it's basically just a rotating door between Amazon, Netflix, and HBO Max and Hulu, because basically anything you want to watch is within like one of those streaming services.
Yeah, and now they have Discovery Plus,
Mhm.
which is phenomenal. If you're into those cooking shows, or the renovation shows, or that kind of stuff,
I love
it's
those
all there.
things.
I do too. It's I get up Sunday mornings, and that's what we watch all day.
And Disney Plus is getting ready to add a Stars channel,
Mm-hmm.
where basically it's the more adult movies and stuff in Disney's library.
Yeah.
So it's going to be expanding that too. So Disney Plus is going to be like a big thing, especially if you have kids.
Yeah, I think we kind of pivoted to the difference between streaming and cable over the password sharing stuff, but still, I think the cable and the networks, they're in trouble. People don't watch TV the same anymore, So
yeah, the big thing with the cable companies is like the internet access that they offer.
Yep.
And I know that when I cut my cord, I was talking to the cable guy, and he was like, yeah, in the future, we're hoping that the cable boxes that they offer, they're going to become streaming boxes, basically.
Right.
And basically, they would just connect to the internet, connect to your TV, and they would basically just act like a Roku, but it'd be through your cable company. I don't know how effective that's going to be, but they're going to need to up their infrastructure offerings and stuff like that. So we've got the Pop Culture Minefield. Hey, Salty Nerd Podcast. Pop Culture Minefield, good to have you in the chat. Thank you for coming. And thank you for having Mr. Vader on your show the other night. That was very nice of you guys. And we got good friend Tim Tringle Jr. in the chat.
Tim.
Hi, Tim. And we also got the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. Jude's room looks
Thank
awesome.
you.
All right. Backyard TARDIS says, between Paramount All Access and Discovery Plus is basically everything I watch on cable. Yeah. We were subscribed to CBS All Access through Amazon. We subscribed through our Amazon account to them, and now they've made the switch over to Paramount Plus, and they've got way more stuff on that now that they're doing the Paramount libraries and things. So pretty happy with that. I don't like these streaming services that it's like, oh, you can watch it with commercials for $5 a month.
Yeah.
But pay like the $10-12 a month, you don't get commercials. It's like, just stop with the commercials, man.
I enjoy the bundles, and there's
Actors need to do those commercials to make a living, sir. So
yeah. There's some of the streaming channels out there I don't really like because like Stars, the Stars network, they have like a very limited small amount of things that you can watch, and they try to charge you.
But
but I would never. Yeah.
Shudder.
Yeah.
What are we up to now? 8? I know we have more than that. I know we have at least 10.
Well, we're subscribed to Cinemax and Stars and Shudder through Amazon. So like those are their premium channels that you can like add on to the Amazon service. A lot like cable. It's like, hey, would you like to add this channel for an extra whatever?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, streaming is basically cable now, right?
It is. Yeah.
It's basically what it is, except now it's more expensive and on demand.
I'm pretty sure if you got all the streaming services that you need and turned off your cable, it would probably cost just as much or not more than getting, the big cable packages. So,
what's interesting about Netflix is that internationally, Netflix is like the big dog. Like here in the States, we have, Amazon, we have Disney Plus and all these other places, but internationally, Netflix is really, it's where it's at essentially. And so them cracking down on password sharing, I mean, they could be losing out on a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
They probably are.
Yeah.
And, they just upped their pricing. And so like my thinking is that they're looking to kind of stem the bleeding a little bit and try to up their market value a little bit more, especially overseas. All right.
So to the chat, no, you cannot have my passwords. I'm not giving them.
All right. So let's talk about some Star Trek, Jude's favorite topic. And we're going to be discussing some Strange New Worlds news on here. So
Strange New Worlds. This is the Pike show.
The Captain Pike show. So this is the latest spin-off coming off of Star Trek Discovery, where it's basically, the new Spock with Captain Pike and Number One played by Rebecca Romaine Stamos. And it's weird because in this picture you can totally see her. She's not wearing any underwear, but regardless. Paramount Plus has filled out the cast of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, the new series exploring the adventures of Captain Christopher Pike and his 5-year mission aboard the USS Enterprise prior to Captain James T. Kirk's tenure. Mount, Rebecca Romaine, and Ethan Peck reprised their roles of Pike, Number One, and Spock, respectively, which they played throughout the second season of Star Trek Discovery. Joining them as series regulars are Nigerian-American actor and TV veteran Babs. I'm not even going to try to
good luck with that one.
Yeah. British actress Christina Chong, Australian actress and model Jess Bush, Colombian-American writer and actor Melissa Navia, and American actress and singer and Broadway alum Celia Rose Gooding. You can see the various faces below announcing the start of filming. Akiva Goldsman penned the series premiere from a story by Goldsman, Alex Kurtzman, and Jenny Lumet. All three executive produced. Goldsman and Henry Alonzo Myers serve as co-showrunners, with Goldsman directing the premiere episode. So, yeah.
I can't let myself get excited. It's like I've said it multiple times. Star Trek is dead to me right now. That being said, I can't sit here and say I'm not going to at least check out the pilot for this show, because I will. And if it's okay and watchable, I'll watch the second episode, and I will keep going forward until I either love this show or until they break me. Discovery broke me. I don't watch it anymore, and I'll never watch it again. I don't care anymore. But this one, I like Anson Mount. I like Pike in the second season. I wasn't completely offended by the portrayal of Spock all the time on that show. I think the actor could do a serviceable version of the character, I hope. I really liked how do you Rome? I can never say her name.
Rebecca Romaine.
Rebecca Romaine's portrayal.
Like the lettuce.
Yeah, I liked her portrayal of Number One, and her and Anson are the only two reasons I'm going to check this show out. So, and I hope it's good, because I'm really tired of Star Trek being bad. But that being said, I have no hopes for this show because of who's running it. I'm sure it's going to get woke super fast, and it is what it is. It's fine.
Well, so Anson Mount was the highlight of Star Trek Discovery Season 2.
Absolutely.
Like, he just came in. Every scene that he was in, you just focused on Anson Mount. He was great. In fact, we got a great comment here from Calson about, I am gay for Anson Mount.
Yeah.
I totally understand that. Touch it, don't suck it. But
you can do whatever you want to it, Cal.
But the real problem here is, number one, Alex Kurtzman, and number two, Akiva Goldsman, because Akiva Goldsman has been a part of this new Star Trek generation since Discovery, and he's not a good writer. He's the guy who wrote Batman and Robin, that almost killed the Batman franchise. Yeah. And he's an Academy Award winner, but I think that was for an adaptation of A Beautiful Mind. But the guy is he's not a good fit for Star Trek, in my opinion. And I liked what they did with Star Trek Discovery Season 2 in terms of Anson Mount and the new Spock guy. And I'm looking forward to this new incarnation of the Star Trek Enterprise, to get to see, like, pre-Kirk, how the ship ran, because we only got one or two episodes of that in the original series.
Yeah, just the pilot and then the reworked pilot.
Yeah, but again, there's going to be problems with them retconning tons of stuff that is already canon. That was the problem with Discovery for the first two seasons. So I'm cautiously pessimistic about Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I hope it's good. I think Anson Mount will probably carry it for the most part, but the people behind it are not very encouraging in terms of the creative team. I don't know who this Jenny Lumet is, but Alex Kurtzman and Akiva Goldsman have proven that they're really not good for Star Trek.
Nope, they are not.
All right, so let's go to a few chats here. So Peacock was really good, and then 2020 happened, and all the good shows got canceled and replaced with BLM talk shows.
Yep,
that's the truth. Although we did watch Yellowstone on Peacock, didn't we, Jude?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your take on that show?
I loved it.
Yeah. Was it BLM?
No, it was about cowboys.
Yeah.
It was basically like Sons of Anarchy, but on horses.
Gotcha.
I love Yellowstone. My wife and I. That's what my wife and I's. That's our summer show that my wife and I watch together. We always try to have a show that we watch together because we don't get to spend a lot of time with each other. So that's our summer show. So yeah.
Yellowstone bringing couples together.
It's a really good show. I mean,
that's what
I stand Rip, man. I absolutely do.
Oh my God, I love Rip. This is going to devolve into just like a Yellowstone chat now.
Yeah. Stop, move on, quick.
All right. So the Scuttlebutt podcast says, do you guys feel the entertainment value is bigger now in streaming versus when TV was free? And how are people spending so much for all these channels? Some people just, they put a value on their entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
If you cut cable, I think probably spending money on all these different streaming services works out to roughly the same amount of money you'd be spending on cable TV.
The problem you get is when you get people like me who have the full-blown cable packages and they buy all the streaming networks. That's when you start really feeling it. And like I said earlier, if we didn't have a really good deal through our apartment complex, I wouldn't have what I have. I would have to pick. So
yeah, in terms of the entertainment value, like first of all, streaming allows these studios to make more adult content. They don't have to worry about the FCC guidelines in terms of swearing or nudity or sexuality or like whatever, because it's the HBO thing. You're choosing to pay for that content, and so what type of content you're getting. So there doesn't need to be any type of censorship on that level. So with streaming, you tend to get more adult fare than you do on the free TV. But the big thing about streaming is the on-demand nature of it, right? So like if we want to watch Yellowstone at 7 a.m. on a Monday, we could binge watch that whole first season that's up on there. We don't have to wait week to week to get it, or we could take a break from that and then come back to it later. Whereas with free TV, it's like you had to be at your TV at this time in order to watch this show. And if you couldn't be, you had to set your VCR to record it. And that was that.
Oh, the good old days. The good old days.
Yeah. And even once cable kind of went with on-demand stuff or DVR stuff, you still had to fast forward through commercials and all that junk. And with the streaming model, even though there are probably places in the show where the commercial breaks would naturally go, they're just not, you don't have to worry about it, which is nice.
We'll be back right after these messages.
Yeah. All right. So Scarif also says, I'm actually looking forward to this in regards to Strange New Worlds, except I don't like new Spock. He's taken a little bit of getting used to because, Leonard Nimoy. But I'm okay with him. I don't think he's bad. What do you think about him, Vader?
Like I said earlier, I think he could do a serviceable job to him. Nobody's ever going to live up to Nimoy. I mean, if they're going to have the character, we're just going to have to accept that fact. And I think the funny part about the whole Spock character is I remember when Discovery was first coming out, they specifically stated, we are never going to mess with the original trilogy. We're not going to have any of those characters, and Spock will never be on the show. And man, look at what happened now. Now we got a whole fucking show based on pre-original series with those characters. It's hilarious to me, man. I just, it's just, it is what it is. It's funny.
I think it's just because the team behind the Star Trek TV shows is so uncreative.
Yeah.
And they're just like, what can we mine that we know people like? Oh, let's bring back Spock. People like Spock. So
Yeah.
it's very.
It's like we have to have Spock to be able to get some of those old school fans to watch our terrible show. So yeah, I get it.
All right. So Calson says Hell on Wheels was great.
Yeah.
I would argue the first 3 seasons of Hell on Wheels were pretty good. The rest of it was, I don't know.
Yeah, nobody has any issues with Anson Mount. That dude is awesome.
Yeah, and it's funny because in Hell on Wheels, Cole Meany was in that show too, and he played Miles O'Brien, one of my favorite Star Trek characters. So it was kind of a fun little cross there. I guess they have the same agent or representation or something like that. Him and
I don't have any issues with any of the actors. They're doing their job the best that they can do. Our issue, and I think Matt's issue, and probably most people's issue with modern Trek is the writers and who's running the show. They're idiots. They don't know what they're doing. So why they're allowed to touch our stuff is crazy.
Calson says he will check out Star Trek Strange New Worlds if Vader wears a blonde wig.
I'll wear a blonde wig every week if you want me to. That's fine. I don't care.
We actually want to do a segment called Ask Matt Vader 70 Thor, where Matt Vader gets into character and as Thor the Metal God, and people just ask him questions.
That's going to take a lot of bourbon, sir. But that's totally okay.
I feel like this house is up to the challenge, Vader.
So Pop Culture Minefield says Goldsman is a hack, and they are completely right with that.
Yes, he is. Correct.
Yes. Okay. Let's see if we got any more in the chat here. Fanzine Vid says, I can't put hope in something I know Kurtzman and Bad Robot will ruin. Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. I said, man, week by week, I'm going to go 1 week at a time until they break me. So, yeah.
It's so sad because, Bad Robot used to be like, you'd see that and you'd be like, oh, a Bad Robot show. Cool. Yeah. And now it's like, oh, Bad Robot show. They're going to destroy something we love.
They're going to give us a terrible ending. And welcome, Fanzine. Yeah. Fanzine's another one of my buddies from. He was on the podcast or the show with me yesterday over on Pop Culture Minefield. So good stuff.
All right, now let's talk about something that Jude can actually contribute to, which is the spinoff for the Amazon original series, The Boys.
This is all new to me.
Heard of that? What's going on?
Yeah.
Okay, so as you guys know, on the podcast, we have extensively covered the first and second seasons of The Boys, which is a comic book adaptation, and it's really about normal, everyday assholes policing superheroes. And it's a great show. We love it. And it turns out that it was like one of Amazon's like biggest shows ever. If we go here, I think it mentions that before the second season had premiered, Amazon picked up a third season renewal because the second season had the most watched global launch of an Amazon original series ever. So season 2 was a big thing for Amazon's original entertainment.
I don't know if Vader loved it as much as we did, but
The Boys, I kind of checked out.
Yeah.
I was. Go ahead.
Well, you were in the minority there because.
I was.
No, I think Vader checks out on a lot of the shows that we start off watching, and then he like steels himself against how the finale is gonna disappoint him. So then he checks out as a means to like save his soul. I feel you. I get you.
I think you're probably correct. Yes. The best thing about season 2 of The Boys was I got inspired for my Halloween costume I'm going to come out as this year. So.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is it a surprise?
No, we already talked about this, but I think we were drinking. I'm gonna get a big old salami and wear a pair of sweatpants.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah, you're gonna go as Love Sausage.
I'm gonna be Love Sausage for Halloween this year. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah. So
just don't tease Jude so much. You'll give her ideas.
Oh God.
All right. So The Boys spinoff at Amazon is nearing a series order. In addition, Lizzie Broadway and Jazz Sinclair have joined the ensemble cast. The project was first announced as being in development in September. Set at America's only college exclusively for young adult superheroes and run by Bot International, the Untitled series is described as an irreverent, R-rated show that explores the lives of hormonal, competitive supes as they put their physical, sexual, and moral boundaries to the test, competing for the best contracts in the best cities.
I have heard of this now that you say that.
Yeah, so it's basically like Animal House, but with superpowers.
Yeah.
And I think the girl that they mentioned here in the cast, she was Sabrina in the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So she's going to be kind of heading up that thing. But what's interesting here is that it says that it's nearing a series order. And what this typically means is that when you're doing a new show, you do a pilot episode, and if the network likes the pilot episode, it'll order it to series, which basically gives the go-ahead for the producers to start making a full season. And right now it seems like it's in the pilot phase, and it says it's nearing a series order, which means that the studio is getting ready to evaluate the pilot and decide whether or not they actually want to go forward with the show or something of that nature, which means that, the scripts will start getting written and all this other stuff. And the group behind this show, it's the same creative people behind The Boys. It's Eric Kripke, the creator and showrunner of Supernatural. He also did the first 2 seasons of The Boys. But we've also got Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, who is Seth Rogen's producing partner, and James Weaver and a bunch of other people. But Seth Rogen and Eric Kripke are basically like the 2 big guys behind the show. And it's loosely based on a storyline from the comic books, the Boys comics, where there was like a superhero team that, was in college basically, and they were just totally disgusting and terrible. And they're basically taking that concept and making a new show out of it. I would rather that they revive The Tick instead of doing something like this, but I can see why they would want to capitalize on the success of The Boys. So what do you guys think about this spinoff?
Well, I think it makes sense. I'll give it a go, but I mean, I watched The Walking Dead for a while longer than I should have, but I never wanted to watch
Fear the Walking Dead.
Yeah. I think I watched 2 episodes of that and I was like, no, fuck this.
Breakfast Time with The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll give this a whirl and I will hope for the best. I like other shows that Kripke has done. So yeah. Okay. I'm giving it a okay.
I always get a little bit nervous when they do spin-offs off of shows simply because those other shows were popular or they caught on to something. That doesn't mean the spin-off's going to be good.
Yeah, it could vary.
They always feel like money grabs to me because they very rarely work.
Yeah, so. I think you're right. I think it could very easily become some very lazy money grab. But I choose to hope for the best.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give it a couple of episodes before I say no, fuck this.
Yeah.
And Backyard Artist, I want Tick back too.
Yeah, the Tick was great, and it was a shame that it only got canceled after 2 seasons. So, let's see here. Scarif Scuttlebutt says, nearing show order, so not ordered and could not happen at this point. That is correct, Scarif. There's a possibility that this show does not go forward, but I think Amazon's pretty high on it, so chances of it going forward are pretty good right now.
I get so frustrated with some of the stuff that we watch that I don't really give a shit what you put on TV. Just do it right. Just put some effort into it. Just don't make it dumb and bullshitty, and don't make the first 2 episodes great and then just set up storylines that go nowhere.
Yeah, don't Please. Netflix it.
Yeah.
Tim Tringle says, Amazon used to put its pilots up for the audiences to vote on, didn't they? Yes, they did. It was called the Amazon pilot season, and basically they would have like a bunch of those.
Yeah, the Tick was one.
The Tick was one, and they would basically put them up and say like, hey guys, vote on which ones you would like to see go to series. And I think they stopped doing that because people were picking shows that wider audiences didn't care about. So I think now
aren't necessarily the people who will watch it.
Yeah, I think now it's more kind of a traditional like studio decision type thing. But that was pretty cool. I remember when they were doing that, and I used to go on and watch the different shows and leave comments about like, this one sucked, this one was cool. But
that's how we discovered the Jean-Claude Van Damme show. And if anyone hasn't watched that, you gotta. It's amazing.
Jean-Claude Van Johnson.
Yep.
Yeah. I can remember there was this one show called The Patriot, which was about a spy, and I loved the pilot episode that Amazon put up. And so I gave it like a 5-star, and I said, like, this really needs to go to series. I'm really excited for it. And then they did the series, and everything after the pilot episode was so boring that I was like, I can't believe I voted for this one. Put that vote towards better use.
I remember that one.
And Backyard TARDIS says, I want the Tick instead. Yes, I think we're with you on that one.
I feel like there's a burgeoning internet campaign to redo the Tick show. So yeah, let's do it.
It's so
Make
funny
the Tick happen.
because like the Tick has gone through so many different iterations. It's like there was the comic book, then the cartoon, then the Barry Sonnenfeld show, and then the Amazon show, and the creator of the Tick was involved in all of these things, and they were all pretty good, but they just keep getting like canceled for some weird reason.
Create some kind of like streaming availability for all of the shows that we loved that got canceled. Like, what was that Vikings one that we loved? What was it called?
Norseman?
Yeah, we need Norseman. We need the Tick. We need all of these shows that got canceled. We need
we need season 4 of the Norseman like yesterday.
Yeah.
At least
it's the best show on the network.
At least Sneaky Pete got kind of a finale. Like if you watch the last season of Sneaky Pete, it's like, okay, I can see the show is over, So, okay, moving on. George R.R. Martin news for all you Game of Thrones fans out there. And
I don't know what it is, but I don't buy it.
What's that?
I said, I don't know what this is, but I don't buy it.
Well,
I'm like, this is what I'm doing. Not doing it.
Well, if you know anything about George R.R. Martin's body of work, he's written stuff other than Game of Thrones, believe it or not. And one of the book series that he's really well known for is this series called Wild Card. And it's basically, he's been the editor of this series. So it's a bunch of different authors writing stories set in this universe. And Martin kind of like collects them and makes them all fit together and stuff like that. And he's basically been working on a TV series version of this book series, and it just moved from Disney's clutches to NBC's clutches. So it's going from Hulu to Peacock.
Listen, doesn't he have a very important book that he needs to put out? What are we worried about all this bullshit for when he needs to put out another book?
I mean, this could easily be super hate-ish from his fans.
Vader, you don't read. So.
I don't even read, but this infuriates me because I know I'm feeling bad for all you guys that read books.
The muse goes where the muse goes, Vader.
Yeah, I was one of those long-suffering Martin fans where I got into Game of Thrones when Storm of Swords came out. And back then he was putting out a book every 2 years. And then I had to wait 5 years for Feast for Crows and then 6 years for Dance for Dragons. And now we've been waiting for over a decade for The Winds of Winter. And, like I used to be like, oh, I got faith in George. I think he's going to finish this. And now I'm kind of more in the camp of like, yeah, we're never getting this series done.
Yeah. To be honest, I have all the books. I just haven't read them. I bought them all. It's just, they're sitting there.
No, you don't read.
Vader,
that's not entirely true, but for the most part, yeah. I don't read movies.
Yeah, you don't even read movies. You can't even watch subtitles, let alone read.
I make up my own subtitles as they go along.
So
makes for much better movies.
So there was a George R.R. Martin TV show that came out not too long ago. It was called Night Flyers, and it was based off of a short story in a collection that he had. And I actually bought the series and watched it, and it was terrible. It was really bad. And the same people who created that series, I think it's UCP is what it says here in the article, is making this series, which is the Wild Cards series. And it's basically, the premise of it is that there's like this alien virus that kind of gets released on Earth back in the 1940s. and it alters the course of human history because the virus rewrites everyone's DNA, and the people who survive getting mutated, they're either horribly like disfigured, like they turn into like weird, like kind of like crazy looking people, or they get superpowers. And so like the people with the superpowers who aren't completely deformed, they're called the wild cards, because out of all the people that got deformed, they were the ones who kind of won the lottery and got like a cool superpower to use. And this is like a series of books that's been going on for a really long time. They've got like a ton of different stories that they can mine, and a ton of different kind of characters that they can put forward. And the project was originally set up at Hulu in 2018, but now it looks like basically UCP is going to take it and move it to Peacock. And so it's going to be a Peacock original series going forward. And it's kind of interesting because I did think that HBO, after the success of Game of Thrones, would have been shoring up all of Martin's stuff to make into HBO series.
Mm-hmm.
But it appears like, other than Game of Thrones, they just don't have any interest in what Martin has to offer. And so he's taken this to other stuff. And I don't know if this is a big loss for Disney, but it's definitely something that I will want to check out on Peacock. What do you guys think? I'm
tired of Disney making everything. They rule enough of the planet as it is. Let's let some of the other studios do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
This sounds like something that's kind of in my wheelhouse, and I'll definitely check it out. I mean, I don't think I can sit here and comment on it a whole lot because I don't really know anything about it other than what you just read. So it
is a superhero show, basically.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I mean, it's not your normal superhero show, that's for sure. So yeah, it'll be fun.
What do you think, Jude?
I give it a okay. I mean, if it was created by George R.R. Martin, I'll probably be interested in it. I mean, look how bad Game of Thrones 8 went. So, I mean, it could start off great and go nowhere.
Well, the question really becomes, how involved is George in this? Like, is he actually overseeing the right? Because he didn't actually write the Wild Cards books either. He was the editor on them. So he was kind of like the Kevin Feige of this Wild Card universe, as opposed to the guy who was actually crafting the plot lines and creating stuff and things of that nature, like he was with Game of Thrones. So it'll be interesting to see, whether or not this show's any good. Because if Night Flyers is anything to be judged by, it's not going to be good.
Well, I feel like Martin is just like throwing out scraps to his fans. Like, I know you guys, I know what you really want. I don't have it, but how about this over here?
Yeah. Just release the book already, and then we'll move on. That's all he's got to do.
So Tim Tringle asked, did he finish writing it before they start the show? So like I said, there are multiple books in the Wild Card series that are already out. He doesn't actually write these books. He just edits them, and it's like a collaboration from a bunch of other writers who write like short stories that get included in the books. So they're basically just a collection of short stories for each book that kind of focuses on like, okay, it's this decade, and this is the bad guy, and here's like the stuff that happens with these characters. So it's a little bit different from what you'd be exposed to from like a Game of Thrones novel. Carlson says, George R.R. Martin is also collaborating with From Software for a game called Elden Ring. He's never finishing them books.
Got too much other stuff on his plate.
Yeah,
priorities, man, priorities.
I heard about that Elden Ring thing. I don't think they say that he's collaborating with them, and that's a very loose term because basically they just asked him to kind of come up with some world building ideas for their game. And so he scribbled out some notes, gave it to him, and they're like, George R.R. Martin is collaborating with us. But it's really From Software that's just like going off and doing their thing with George's name attached. I don't think he's spending too much time on that game.
Yeah,
it's kind of like when they used to put Gene Roddenberry's name on crap, right?
Yeah,
it's like inspired by the mind that had something to do with Gene Roddenberry. This new show, yeah, it's like, okay, cool.
Inspired by the second cousin, mother's sister's brother's roommate, Gene Roddenberry.
It's like, oh man, it must be good. It's going to be just like Star Trek.
All right. And Tim also says, I wish superpowers were as common as they are in the media. Man, went for a vaccine shot, and now I can fly.
Yeah.
Oh man, if the COVID vaccines gave you superpowers, I'd already have mine. I'd be lighting up for them. That'd be cool.
You gonna get that love sausage, babe?
Oh yeah, well, I already got one. So
yeah, if you ever catch me and Vader alone, we're just gonna say we were collaborating.
Stop! You get me in trouble.
We're collaborating.
That's right, we're collaborating.
All right, speaking of collaborating, let's talk about Ruby Rose. For those of you who don't know who Ruby Rose is, she is, in fact, I'll show you her picture right now. You can see. So she is the LGBTQ action lead lady that's been taking the world by storm. She was in John Wick 2.
I mean, you probably recognize her from the blockbuster The Meg.
The Meg, and she was also in XXX3. The return of Xander, or whatever his name, Vin Diesel. And
XXX3?
XXX3, because the second one had Ice Cube in it, because Vin Diesel was trying to pursue a serious Broadway career at that time.
I was gonna like try to lead into a bad porno joke, but it's gone. It's gone.
And all the better for it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So basically, for those of you who don't know, Ruby Rose was cast as Batwoman in the CW's big Batwoman show. And after the first season, she quit the show. And it was like a big to-do. Basically, what happened was she got pretty injured in an on-set accident. And she had to go get back surgery. And when the production shut down because of COVID, she kind of did some soul searching, and she was like, I really don't want to be involved in the show anymore. And so she basically quit. And the producers basically had to recast it, and they recast it as, Batwoman's supposed to be a lesbian superhero. And so now that she quit, they cast it as a African-American lesbian superhero. And basically, the way that they've structured the show, they've kind of killed off Ruby Rose's character, Kate Kane, but you never see the body. So she was in like a plane crash. And when they were investigating the plane crash, they never found Kate Kane's body, but she's legally considered dead. Nobody knows where she is. And so the producers kind of left the door open for her to show up again at a later date if she so desired. And so in a recent interview, they asked, would you return to Batwoman at any point in the future? And this is what she had to say. She's like, I'm obviously moving on to other roles, as I think I've done about 3 films since. I would totally do it. I don't think it would serve the story, because I think building the new Batwoman is more important than going back too far into Kate Kane. But of course I would absolutely do anything they wanted as far as that. I haven't watched the whole thing, but I've watched a couple episodes, and I think how they're handling it is beautiful. I think it's her time to shine. So she basically said, yeah, I'd come back, but I don't think it would, be good if I came back, because you need to focus on the new Batwoman instead of the old one. So have you guys seen any of even just like a clip of the new Batwoman?
I just the pictures. I don't do CW superhero shows. I'm the wrong person to have on for this story, man.
Same.
I really am.
It is ridiculously bad.
Yeah. Like
the writing on the show, it's basically monkeys in a room with typewriters type thing. Like the level of writing, it's kind of like kindergarten. It's like scribble write a script in crayon, and that's what we're going to put on the screen. It's so bad. In fact, it's so bad that it's created a cottage industry on YouTube of people reviewing each episode and laughing at how bad it really is. And so like the fans of the show don't like it because it's a good show. They like it because it's basically Tommy Wiseau's version of Batwoman. It's so bad. And, I actually watched the Every Frame a Pause review of the first episode of season 2, where they introduced the new Batwoman, and those guys ripped into it. So like it was such a bad introduction to this new character. And I just think it's funny that Ruby Rose, like someone who actually the show was so bad she walked away from it to go and do bad movies instead. Was basically saying like, I'm done with this. I'd come back if they asked me to, but I don't really want to focus on the new Batwoman.
She doesn't want to burn bridges. That makes sense.
Yeah. But I mean, like, she was the lead in like a major show on a network. That's the type of thing that can keep you in, royalty money for a very long time. And
Orange is the New Black too.
Yeah, she was in Orange is the New Black. Pretty much any show that wants like a diversity hire, I think, because she is LGBT. So, but she's kind of like gotten into more like actiony, like she wants to be like a Gina Carano type, I think, where she's, she wants to be like a female action star, because all of the movies that she's been doing have basically just been her, fighting and shooting guns and things of that nature.
Yeah, she was the female hitman in John Wick 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought she was great in that.
Well, she didn't speak.
Right. I mean, that's fine, but she was good.
Either did Nick Cage in Willy's Wonderland, and how
that's true.
That was.
That's the new trend: actors who can act without speaking.
Yeah, that's a big acting challenge there.
It probably is.
It really is.
Into a show where no one spoke, they just came on and just like did everything with their eyes. I think that would be hilarious. I'd give it to
film students out there. The challenge has been laid down.
Tim Tringle says, I've been watching AZ's reviews, which is heel versus babyface, and he's one of the YouTubers who regularly does reviews of the show. Mm-hmm. Those are pretty funny, but I prefer EFAPs because they really go deep into just how ridiculous this stuff is. Mahler has kind of like a background in storytelling and stuff like that, so you can kind of break the stuff down pretty well. And
I like reviews that last about 12 minutes.
Yeah, that seems to be a sweet spot. EFAP goes to like 7 to 12 hours. So
yeah, it's not my thing, but that's fine.
They do it all day.
I know.
Backyard TARDIS says, I was a CW apologist and they have lost me. Yeah, I basically after Arrow season 5 and what was it, Legends of Tomorrow and all this stuff, they just started getting bad. They were just really bad. I can't justify them anymore. Okay, so let's talk about some good old Da Vinci Code goodness. Basically, we got news here. I didn't know this, but NBC is turning one of the Dan Brown books with Robert Langdon, the main character from the Da Vinci Code, into a network series similar to kind of what they did with Hannibal. But it's going to be a Peacock original. So if we go and check out this article.
So it's not a different actor. All right.
Yeah, it's not Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
So basically, this is the new Robert Langdon, and he is the main character in all of Dan Brown's kind of like techno thriller books, I guess you'd call them. And basically it says, based on the character in Dan Brown's bestseller, The Lost Symbol, the drama was picked up to pilot last year at NBC and is moving to its streaming sibling Peacock with a series order. Ashley Zuckerman, HBO Succession, stars as Harvard symbiologist Robert Langdon in the drama. He takes on the role played by Tom Hanks in 3 movies based on Brown's novels, The Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons, and Inferno. The team was blown away by this pilot and its enormous potential to become a big binge-worthy hit, and our new structure enables us to move it to Peacock and give it every opportunity to make that happen, said Susan Rovner, chairman of NBC Universal Television and Streaming. Our ability to pick up a great show is no longer limited by the confines of a network schedule, giving us the freedom to say yes to shows we love and then find them a perfect home across our portfolio. So, Jude, I know that you watched Hannibal because we watched it together. Matt, did you ever watch the NBC version of Hannibal with Mads?
No, I did not. No.
Mads Mikkelsen. So basically, NBC took the character of Hannibal Lecter and the universe of Silence of the Lambs and made one of the best TV shows I think I've ever seen.
It's really
like
good.
it's definitely up there. And it was by Brian Fuller, who went on to do Star Trek Discovery, the first season, and a couple other shows. But Hannibal was just amazing. And if they can take Dan Brown's concepts for The Last Symbol and create a series around this character that does justice to the books, I think this could be another Hannibal situation where, like, you know, it's basically just an awesome TV show.
I liked all three of the Tom Hanks movies. I thought they were good fun, and if I would be completely down for seeing a show about that character. I think it would be good stuff, as long as they kept it in the same vein as the movies, you know.
I watched the first movie, and I think I tried to read the book and just couldn't get into the book and put it down. And that's as far as I got in the series.
I know that the Da Vinci Code is, like, you know, his biggest book. And when I read the Da Vinci Code, I came in with very high expectations, and I didn't think it was a good book. And then when I saw the movie, I was like, I don't think the movie is very good either. But I also think Tom Hanks was miscast. I didn't buy him as Robert Langdon. In fact, in the book, they describe Robert Langdon as more of a Harrison Ford type, because he wanted kind of like an Indiana Jones type feel to the character.
Yeah.
And that's probably why I like those movies, because I got enough of the religious mysteries and the artifacts and all that kind of stuff. I like that kind of stuff. So
yeah, the concepts and the research behind the concepts is very intriguing. And so I'm hoping that the show can kind of like give these mysteries the time that they need to go forward. But it was also interesting reading about how, like, you know, they were saying, like, this wouldn't work on NBC, on the network show, but by moving it to Peacock, it's going to kill it there. And I just watched Brave New World, which was a Peacock original. It starred the guy from Solo, Aaron,
I'm a midget and shouldn't be Han Solo. Okay, yeah.
That guy, yeah. And you know, that's based on a book too. And I was like, I'm going to give this a shot because Jude signed us up for Peacock. So I was like, I might as well get something out of it. And I watched that series, and it was actually really good. It was really well made. And
good job, Jude. Good job for signing you guys up.
Yeah, so I'm kind of looking forward to this one.
For me, knowing his password and knowing that it's attached to his credit card. See, that's why password sharing is bad.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay, Tim says, Brian Fuller was gone from Discovery before the cameras rolled. Well, he was there for the first 2 episodes, wasn't he? I think he was there for the pilot, and then they bounced him. But regardless, Brian Fuller has nothing to do with the Robert Langdon show, so we'll have to judge it based off of its own merits. But I'm pretty excited about it. You know, Peacock really does need some good original stuff to compete right now. So we'll see how it goes. All right. And
I need to head out soon, but is there anything that you wanted to talk about while you have me?
No, the last thing that we're going to talk about is Star Wars related. So you have nothing to
She's
offer.
out. I'm out of here.
Thank you to everybody who joined the chat.
All right. Thanks, my dear, for coming.
Was this her first ever live stream?
Probably. I mean, she's done Zoom calls and stuff.
Yeah, cool.
But first one ever broadcasted to the internet.
To the internet. Yes,
Yeah.
that's good.
And I think she's going to be joining Alex on the Force of Light Harry Potter live stream.
Cool.
That they're planning to do. All right, so we've got one more thing to talk about here, which is Star Wars video game related, which I thought was kind of interesting. And it's basically Star Wars made EA Games $3 billion.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
a lot of money.
it really is. So in this story, it kind of talks about how Disney purchased Lucasfilm for $4 billion, which they've already made that money back. And, you know, they got out of the video game business when they acquired Lucasfilm. They basically shut down LucasArts, and they licensed out the Star Wars license to EA in an exclusivity deal, which basically means EA was the only one who was allowed to make Star Wars games for a number of years. And they only got like a certain number of Star Wars video games produced because they were so slow, and they canceled a bunch of them. But here it says, Seeking Alpha reports that during a recent EA earnings call, CEO Andrew Wilson revealed that their Star Wars game titles have resulted in more than $3 billion in revenue, and 52 million games sold. Wilson says, we have generated a number of great franchises: Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, Galaxy of Heroes, Battlefront, Jedi Fallen Order, and most recently Squadrons. And Galaxy of Heroes is a Star Wars game that I play daily.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be interesting to note that of that $3 billion that EA made on their Star Wars games, $1 billion of that was strictly Galaxy of Heroes. And that's a mobile game.
Yeah, that game had its hooks in me for a little while. I mean, nothing like you, but I can see that. These phone games are deceptive in how much money they can get out of you over time, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I've been playing that game for almost 2 years now, and I'm just like addicted to it. I love it.
Don't you play like 3 games at once?
Yeah, I do, but I don't spend money on all of them.
Right.
I haven't spent money on Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes in a long time, but occasionally they get a few bucks out of me. But basically, EA was kind of under the Battlefront 2 scandal, where they put out Battlefront 2 and had all these microtransactions in it. It was kind of pay to win. And I actually really liked that game. I played it hardcore for like a number of months before I kind of just decided, I got better things to do with my life. And most recently, they had Star Wars Squadrons, which wasn't a big hit, but I think that was mostly because of the way that they kind of presented that. It was multiplayer only, and it had kind of like a lame, like, single player campaign. But their one single player game, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, is that what it's called?
I think so.
Yeah, that did really well. And so like before then, EA kind of had this policy, we're not going to do single player games. Everything's in live services, which are basically multiplayer games that they can sell stuff to. And but they faced this huge backlash after Battlefront 2 came out, and so like they had to kind of reevaluate their strategy, and it caused a kind of a rift between EA and Disney in terms of like the bad press that was getting out there for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then just recently, Disney did not renew the exclusivity deal with EA. So EA still has a license to make Star Wars games, but now Disney is free to license it out to whoever wants to make Star Wars video games. And so Activision and a bunch of these other big video game companies jumped on that, and now we're going to be getting a whole lot more Star Wars video games from a whole lot more different companies than just EA, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, that's a great thing. That's a really good thing. Competition makes things better. So.
Yeah, because I think EA had exclusivity for something like 5 years, and in that time they produced something like 4 games. 4 or 5 games. I mean, like, it was an absurdly low number compared to like LucasArts' heyday, where they were putting out tons and tons of games. And Star Wars is such an IP. Like, anything you put out that has Star Wars in the title, people are going to buy it. People are going to play it.
Like my video game playing, I'm kind of a weird place, because I was going pretty hard there for a little while, but I'm trying to figure out what I want to play right now, and it's hard because there's so many. These games all feel so corporate and shilly now. You know what I mean? So it's hard to for me to get into something at the moment.
I've always wanted,
and I think that's the problem with these companies that have exclusivity rights to these games, is they make these things and there's something off with them.
Yeah.
So.
Like, I've always wanted Star Wars games like the Civilization franchise. Like, I want a Civilization game set in the Star Wars universe. I also want like a Master of Orion type Star Wars game, where it's like a 4X strategy game, but set in the Star Wars universe. There's so many things that you can do with the IP that they just aren't doing.
Right.
And one of the reasons I love Galaxy of Heroes so much is it's a hero collector game. So you get to collect all the Star Wars characters, and you get to like level them up, and you get to play with them. And it's a lot of fun for me as a Star Wars fan. So, hopefully in the future, we're going to start getting some actual good Star Wars games. Did you ever play the Old Republic, the MMO?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had a max level character.
Yeah, I think I got like three max level characters.
I had 2. I had a Sith Inquisitor and something else I forget. That was an interesting game. I got a little bit tired of all the talking parts, which was part of how they sold that game. Is like, well, you get to interact with people and there's all this voice acting and stuff in it, and that's fine. But back then I was also a real heavy World of Warcraft player, so it was a little bit of a different kind of. It was the same game but a little bit different, and it kind of fizzled out at the end because they didn't have any in-game content and stuff, So, but
I really enjoyed the storylines for all the different characters. Like, you'd want to play each class just to see what the storyline was like. But the thing that I loved most about that game was, number one, I liked that you got your own ship and you got to explore like the inside of your own ship. Yeah. And I also really liked the housing system when they finally introduced that. I spent so much money just buying like little things to decorate my different housing stuff. Like, I got the Tatooine like farm, and I went in and like decorated the heck out of it. And I love that type of thing. It's so stupid, but I love it.
So it's like you'd be into Animal Crossing.
Yeah, something like that. But I bought a casino in the game, and I decked it out with like all these like slot machines and different like tables, and I'd bring in my guildmates and we'd role play like like Star Wars Underworld stuff. It was a lot of fun. But unfortunately, the actual game itself was a little bit lacking. I didn't find it all that interesting. All right, so let's go to some chats here, and then we will kind of call it a day. It's partly why they don't want a bunch of single-player games, because they want loot boxes to be the only place to play Star Wars. Yeah, I think they're EA's FIFA series, their sports games. They're all loot box based, and they make billions of dollars a year for the company. So, of course, they want to continue that model with a huge franchise like Star Wars. I mean, who wouldn't? But I feel like it's very anti-consumer. It's very predatory. It's the same mentality behind like slot machines here in Vegas, where like they don't care if the 15-year-old has their mom's credit card and spends $10,000 trying to get like a new weapon or a new skin or something like that. And it's ultimately like just not very good for the player base. Like, have a good game first, and then
do that.
Want to support you. Because I mean, Battlefront 2, like I never did any of the loot boxes in Battlefront 2, because you didn't need to. Like, they were all cosmetic for the most part.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I can see why people were pissed about it, because they built the game around the loot boxes as opposed to having the loot boxes be an addition to the game. It was really bad. Tim says they were too busy defending their monetization practices. They had no time to make new Star Wars games. That's pretty much true. I think that they were looking at the loot boxes as a way to pay for the concurrent development, because they want games that last a long time, that have like a good player base to them, that can kind of just perpetuate themselves. That's why a lot of them were arena shooters, where basically you would just hop onto a map, bunch of random people together, running around shooting each other. Because you don't need to write any stories for that. You don't need to do anything special. I think that's one of the reasons why Battle Royale really took off, is because just
Fortnite and stuff.
Just inherently in Battle Royale, you have situations where people just play constantly every day, and the game changes just based off of the infrastructure of what you've set up. So, I think that they were hoping for something like that. But I know that Battlefront 2 is no longer being updated, right? Like, they've got like a skeleton crew just to like manage the servers and stuff like that. But EA's kind of taken a step back from their, Star Wars development, unfortunately. But, we're going to get to see a lot more creative things from smaller studios or rival studios.
It's funny. I find myself wanting to take a step back from the fancy kind of new stuff. And I would much rather go play some old Super Mario Brothers or something right now. But I don't know if that's a trend or if I'm just getting old. But I do see a lot more of that kind of stuff being streamed online now. I see, we know a group of people who get together once or twice a week and play Mario Kart, and they have huge streams, and it's a blast. And I'm thinking about getting what are those things? The Nintendo
Switches.
I'm thinking about buying the Switch just so I can play Mario Kart, for crying out loud. And that game's been out for years, and I don't know if I need big fancy games right now. I mean, I did always tell my wife I'm gonna die slaying dragons in virtual reality when I'm 85 years old, and I do plan on going out that way. But right now, I feel like there's like a retro thing going on in the video gaming world, sort of. These fighter games that are super popular right now, and they have these huge tournaments all over the country for them. Like Street Fighter and stuff. Those games have been around for years now. They were out when I was a kid, so it's a weird kind of scene out there in the video game world for me right now. Yeah, retro gaming is big these days. Tim, he just put that up there, so I like it. I like that trend. It makes me feel kind of young again. So.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of really good games out there. One of the things I love about Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes is just how casual it is. Like, you don't need to be. It doesn't rely on twitchy movements like right. some of the high level like Fortnite players and first person shooter players and stuff like that. Like you have to be on top of your game in order to even just play in the same arena as them. With something like Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, it's just like, you log in whenever you want. You spend some energy to do this and that. So it's much more my old man style, where I don't have to invest a whole lot of focus and energy into it.
When I was playing that game, I would just pick the auto fight and I would just let it do its thing. that's not a lot of fun, but it gets the battles over quicker.
Yeah, sometimes the auto fight's the way to go. Other times it's fun to kind of go in there and play the game like yourself.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, you're still going. Yes, Sean. We're wrapping things up right now. Backyard TARDIS says EA owns the Knights of the Old Republic games and they didn't do a remaster. This is true. They should have done a remaster. Probably would have done very well.
Yes, they would. Those are incredibly popular.
He also says Vader would probably enjoy Zelda Breath of the Wild. I hear good things about that game. I tend to like RPGs. Like the last one that I really got invested in was Mass Effect Andromeda. And I know that game gets a lot of crap because, it's not the best game in the world. I had a lot of fun doing it because I love science fiction games and I love RPGs, and it was a pretty decent experience for me, at least. So that's good. I know that. Have you heard anything about what's going on with BioWare right now?
No.
So basically everyone who was with the original BioWare has moved on. It's a completely different company. It's a lot like what Blizzard's shaping up to be now, where it's basically in name only.
Yeah, Blizzard. I haven't touched a Blizzard game since other than Diablo for a while now. So, but I'm looking forward to what's that one company that so the Blizzard guys, they all left, and then the big guy of Blizzard, he started up Dreamhaven is what it's called. It's a new video game studio where a lot of the old Blizzard guys are over there now with him developing new things. So I'm really hoping some good stuff comes out of there. I don't want big, huge games. I just want fun games that, will, give us some good game time. I don't know what else to say about that. Just make good, fun stuff. So.
Yeah. Basically BioWare announced that they're killing Anthem. Because Anthem was such a disaster when they released it that they were going to go back and retool things and put out like an Anthem 2.0. And EA basically just said, it's not happening. Like, you guys can't salvage this. And so they decided to shut it down. And that's kind of the current state of BioWare, is just failure after failure. So unfortunately, it's not the same.
Yeah,
we all grew up loving.
Activision bought Blizzard and just destroyed it. It's just sucks now. So
yeah, and what was that company that made Halo?
I don't know.
They went on to do Destiny. I know that Activision bought them for Destiny, and they forced them to do all this microtransaction crap, and that company eventually broke away from EA, and now they're doing Destiny full time, and people are a lot happier with how they're handling the game now that Activision.
Sean says the company's name's Bungie, and I think he's correct.
Yeah, Bungie. So, yeah. That's it. So like once Bungie got away from Activision, Destiny started getting good again, from what I hear. So, it just shows the influence these big companies have on these smaller developers, unfortunately. Anyway, guys, we've been talking long enough. It's almost noon our time. But thank you for coming to the Saturday Morning Holmgang with me, Matt Vader, and my lovely fiance, Jude, who was here earlier. Basically, we do this every Saturday morning at 10:30 a.m. right here on the Salty Nerd Podcast channel. And be sure to subscribe to our channel because we're putting out content every day.
Every day.
And it's good content. We're very proud of it. We're trying to really up our video game because for the past year, we've been audio only. We've been focusing on podcasting. And that's been a lot of fun, but we really want to break into the YouTube space. And we're about halfway to our goal of getting at 1,000 subscribers. And we think our content's pretty good. We don't want to brag about it or anything like that, but we think that we want to be like the Joe Rogan of movie review or movie talk channels, where we have like the four of us at a table, we record ourselves, we put in some production value into it, and it's a lot of fun. And we're trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber goal. We're about halfway there.
Yes, and it doesn't happen without you guys. So, please.
So if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. If you think you know anyone who would like our content, please recommend that they check out our channel. It's really easy to do. Just tell them to go to Salty Nerd Video. Like you can see it right up there above Vader's head. If they go to saltynerdvideo.com in their browser, it'll take them right to our YouTube channel. So it makes it really easy to find. You don't have to go to YouTube and search for anything. And just help us get to 1,000 subscribers so we can get the channel monetized and start making money. So this guy and our host, Alex, can eventually quit their jobs and do this full time. That's the goal right now, is we really want to get it out there and get it so that this is our job.
We've already got the blueprints made for the Salty Studios.
Yeah, get us out of my house, away from the neighbors' gardeners and stuff like that. So basically, we can't do anything without your love and support, and we really appreciate those who show up every Saturday and interact with us in chat. Tim, Nick, you guys were fantastic today. Thank you so much for coming in. Sean, thank you for your support as well. So we have a lot of great people who come and check these out, and we're going to make this a regular thing. So hopefully, more people will come every week.
Maybe we'll have some guests on pretty soon. So
maybe. Well, we got Jude today. She's not going to be on every episode, but it was nice to have her join in. And hopefully, maybe someday we'll even get Alex on one of these things.
Well, he has to get another job. So.
Yeah. Or change the hours at his current one.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you next week. And remember to check out our channel because we're putting out, 3 uploads a day, something like that. Something crazy.
You already said that, dude.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later.
Later, boys. See ya.